You know that big metal tank that's probably tucked away in your basement or garage? We almost never think about our water heater. That is, until it breaks. Well, today we're going on a hunt for a better one. And it turns out the journey to build a smarter, more efficient water heater is packed with some really surprising twists and turns.
Okay, let's start with a feeling we all know way too well. You hop in the shower, you turn on the water, and you wait. And you wait some more. You're just watching perfectly good water and your precious time go right down the drain. We've been sold this idea of on-demand hot water for years now. So why are we always waiting for it? That's the big puzzle we're going to try to solve today. For the longest time, the answer was this guy, the classic tank water heater. It's really just a giant thermos, right? It keeps 40 or 50 gallons of water piping hot 24/7, just in case you decide you need to do dishes at 3 in the morning. Sure, it's reliable, but my gosh, is it an energy hog? It's constantly burning gas or electricity to heat water you're not even using. So the industry came up with what seemed like the perfect solution, the tankless water heater. The idea is brilliant. No more giant tank. Instead, when you turn on the faucet, cold water zips through this unit, a powerful burner kicks on, and boom, you get hot water on the fly. The promise was awesome, endless hot water and big energy savings. It really looked like the perfect upgrade.
But what if I told you that the tankless water heater, this supposed hero of our utility bills, has a bit of a dark secret? What if the whole idea is kinda a myth?
A really in-depth report from the California Urban Water Conservation Council asked that exact question, and they came back with an answer that was just, wow, so direct. They said, in short, the answer is no. For a piece of tech that's sold almost entirely on the idea of efficiency, that is a bombshell.
That feels totally backwards, doesn't it? I mean, a machine that only heats water when you actually ask for it has to be better. How on earth could it waste more water than that big old clunky tank?
So this graph from the study shows us the hidden flaw. See, that promise of instant hot water, it's not quite real. Look at that purple line. That's the water temperature leaving the heater. It doesn't just instantly jump to 120 degrees. It has to ramp up. It can take 30, even 40 seconds for the heater to get its act together and start making truly hot water. And all that lukewarm water it makes in the meantime, that's the hidden cost of on-demand, and it's all going straight down the drain.
So how much water are we really talking about? Well, the researchers actually measured it. For a single shower, just one, starting with cold pipes, the heater wastes over a gallon of water just getting up to speed. That's 1.14 gallons gone before the truly hot water even starts its trip to your shower. And that delay, that ramp-up time, creates this really weird and, let's be honest, deeply unpleasant side effect that folks on Consumer Reports gave the perfect name, the cold water sandwich. Picture this, you're enjoying a nice hot shower, and then all of a sudden, wham, you get blasted with a slug of icy cold water. That's it. That's the cold water sandwich. It's that lukewarm water from the ramp-up finally making its way to you. It is a shocking, very cold surprise.
Okay, so the tankless heater wasn't the magic bullet for saving water everyone thought it would be. The hunts for a better water heater had to keep going. And that search led engineers to a technology that isn't just a little better. It's absolutely brilliant. It's called the heat pump. So over on the left, you've got your standard electric heater. It's basically a giant, not very efficient toaster that uses glowing hot metal coils to heat your water. But on the right, you have the heat pump water heater. Yeah, it kind of looks like a regular water heater with a funny hat on top, but the way it works is so much smarter. Here's the key thing to understand. A heat pump doesn't create heat from electricity like a toaster does. No, it moves heat that's already there from one place to another. Think about your refrigerator. You can feel that warm air coming off the back, right? It's literally pulling heat out from inside the fridge and dumping it into your kitchen. A heat pump water heater does the exact same thing, just in reverse. It grabs heat from the air around it and pumps it right into the water in the tank. And this is where things get a little mind-bending. Because it's just moving heat instead of making it from scratch, a heat pump is actually more than 100% efficient. For every 1 unit of electricity it uses, it can move 2, 3, sometimes even 5 units of heat into the water. It's like putting $1 into a machine and getting $5 back. It's an absolute game changer for energy use. So, incredible efficiency. Problem solved, right? We found the perfect water heater. Well, not quite so fast. The hunt was about to hit another huge roadblock. And this one had nothing to do with water. It was all about electricity and a potentially massive price tag.
You see, while the heat pump part is super efficient, it's also a little on the slow side. So to make up for that, most of the models you can buy today are hybrids. They have those old school toaster-style heating elements as a backup for when you need a lot of hot water fast. But here's the catch. Those backup elements are real power hogs, and they need a special high-power 240-volt circuit, the same kind you'd need for a big electric stove or a clothes dryer.
And this is where it gets painful. If your home isn't already wired for that, especially if you're switching over from a gas heater, you gotta call an electrician. And the cost to upgrade your electrical panel and run a whole new high-voltage line can be just staggering. We're talking anywhere from a few $1,000s to, in some cases, $10,000. That's often way more than the cost of the water heater itself.
So this leaves homeowners with a really tough choice. You could go for the powerful 240-volt model that heats up super fast, but you might get slapped with a crazy expensive installation bill. Or you could get one of the newer 120-volt models that just plugs into a regular wall outlet. The install is a piece of cake, but its recovery time is painfully slow. It's a classic catch-22. Spend a fortune for comfort, or save a ton of money and risk a cold shower.
But what if there was a third way? What if the answer wasn't about more raw power, but more intelligence? This is where our story finds its hero, not in thicker wires or more powerful elements, but inside a tiny little computer chip.
A team of researchers at Purdue University saw this dilemma, and they had a revolutionary thought. What if, instead of just reacting to you using hot water, a water heater could actually predict when you're going to use it? They developed a system built around smarter software, using something called Model Predictive Control.
And the concept is just beautifully simple. First, the smart controller watches and learns your family's daily routine. When you shower, when you do laundry, you name it. Second, it uses that data to predict when the next big need for hot water is coming. And third, and this is the magic part, it tells that slow but steady, super efficient 120-volt heat pump to get to work ahead of time, making sure a full tank of hot water is ready and waiting for you right when you need it most.
So does this whole thinking ahead thing actually work? Well, the results from their study were pretty amazing. Compared to the usual strategy of just keeping the water extra hot all the time, the smart heater used, on average, 37% less energy. That's the best of both worlds. All the comfort you want without the huge energy bill.
And that right there is the big takeaway from our whole hunt. By using a little bit of clever software, a simple, easy-to-install 120-volt heat pump can do the same job as a much bigger, more powerful, and way more expensive machine. It's a total victory for brains over brawn. So it leaves us with one last thought to chew on. As we're all looking for the next big upgrade to make our homes better, maybe we should stop looking for more horsepower or a bigger box. Maybe, just maybe, the most powerful upgrade you can make is just a smarter brain.